So look, without further ado, I'll hand over to Coach Pyke, who will speak for several minutes, probably got a chance for a couple of questions, and then Beck, straight after Don, then I'll come back, give you a bit of a rundown, a bit more of an in-depth look at last year, and I think Fags is going to walk through a little bit more of this year. Okay? All right, over to Coach.
Thank you. Good to go. Thanks, Chabby, and good to see some familiar faces here tonight. Thanks for coming along. I'm not going to talk a lot about last year, to be honest. We've sort of moved on. So we've covered that. And look, it was some positives out last year, and obviously the last game was not ideal for us. So, but the reality is we've addressed that, and you've probably heard me talk in the press, and I feel like I've said it enough. So we'll look forward. For us now, it's about creating the next opportunity. We missed one. That's fair, but let's create another one. And that's what the players have been focused on, and I'm happy to report that, you know, since they've been back, their training, the work they've done in their strength and conditioning side of things has been to a high quality, and we are looking forward to the start of the season. And we've seen that in the last 2 weeks with our AFLX, which was an interesting experiment, but it was great to give some young guys an opportunity to play and pull on the jumper for our club. And they performed really to a high standard. I was very pleased. I like to win, and so when we did, it didn't mean an awful lot, but it was good to win. I'd rather walk away from there winning than not winning. So, and it was good to see those young men get an opportunity to play, and as I say, they performed really well. And then last week in the JLT1, we gave the guys who've really worked hard through the pre-season. And they've come back and they've, you know, determined to make improvement, and they have, and we were fortunate to be able to give those guys again another opportunity. And we see some of them progress. So we see a young guy like Lockie Murphy, who was basically our last pick, if you like, in the draft, but comes in with a great attitude and a real energy about him, and just wants to play. And he gets a chance and he pushes his case forward, which is what this time of year is about for our players. They've done all the work. It's now about how does it look for round one, and can I give myself a chance to play? Along with a lot of other guys, so we've got guys who didn't play last year, Cam Ellis-Yeoman and Cole Cheney, who didn't play at all last year. Cam through injury, and Cole pretty much through injury, and then he had a pretty wretched run with a whole range of things, got suspended as well, which didn't help him along the way. But they come back, as we know the quality of player they are as well, and to get them back into the mix gives us another 2 players that we didn't have last year. So, and there's opportunities there. That's the beauty. We had a few guys leave the footy club, and we've created some opportunities, and some guys who are injured in Brodie, and there'll be a chance for guys to play. And that's really important for us, is that internal competition that exists within the group is vital. Pressure for spots is what we need. And we saw a bit on the weekend, and some guys put their hand up and said, yeah, I want to take one of those spots, which is fantastic. As we get ready to go to round one, the focus for us throughout the pre-season has been pretty clear. We recognised we played some really strong and powerful footy last year, and we recognised our best was pretty good. But if we stand still, others will go past us. So it's more a question of how do we get better? And that's both individually and collectively. And that's players and coaches. So that's me and my coaching staff. How do we individually get better? How do we get collectively better as a coaching group? We've brought in a few new coaches, so we've got a few new ideas, and we've got a few fresh faces and some relationships to build. But my belief is that the challenge of every organisation is how do you keep improving? Now, some of the improvement, we're right on the marginal gain for some of our guys. We've got some really high-performing, quality players, and we're looking for just that little bit more. And sometimes that's hard to get, but that's what we're pushing them on, and that's what we're challenging them on, is to go, if we continue to get better, individually, collectively, what will happen is we'll get some wins, and more wins than we want. Or not that we want, but more wins than we plan on. So this year, I'm not going to speak for much longer, but for this year we've got another, it'll be a year like any other year. Sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? But every year comes with its own challenges, its own unique journey, if you like. And last year was the same. Last year we had a year where, you know, we had some super highs and we had some disappointments. We had some tears. We had some, you know, players who went down with injury, players who lost loved ones. That's part of a footy club. And we had some great joy. And you could see that. when you came to the footy to watch Adelaide play last year, I reckon you could see our guys really, enjoyed the experience, but took great joy out of what they were able to achieve and what they were able to do. And we want to continue to build that. And this year will be no different. It'll have its highs, it'll have its lows. But as Chappie said, the one thing I'm very, very comfortable with is the quality of people that I work with in our organisation, from the board all the way down to our footy people, our executive, everyone else, which allows me to do what I do and allows our coaches to do what they do and allows our players to do what they do. And in our playing group, I'm blessed to work with the quality of young men I do. And I mean that most sincerely. They are, to a man, fantastic, which makes my job easier, but harder as well, because I've got to make difficult decisions against, for one guy against another guy who I can feel for him. I can empathise for this guy missing out, and the reality is I've got to pick 22 every week, and sometimes that's difficult. But that's my job. The joy of my job. One of the joys of my job. So it's a journey, and it's a ride, if you like. And sometimes it's going to go really well, and sometimes it won't. And I think the most important thing, and one of the strengths of great footy clubs, is their ability to stay connected and to stay together through the good and through the bad. Now, we plan on more good than bad, but we also understand that if our players continue to respond the way they have and continue to improve, there should be more good than bad, and to look forward to that. So I look forward to the season. It's one of these ones where, coming off last year, as I said, we're looking for those gains and those improvements, and the players have worked really hard to do that. And I know deep down within our playing group, there's a real resolve and a real drive to continue to perform at a really high standard. Where that takes us, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen in the rest of the industry. I don't know who's going to improve, who's going to fall away. All I know is we've got Essendon on March the 23rd on Friday night, and that's our first game. And we can't win our second game or our third game until you win your first game. So we'll focus on that one, try and get a win, and we'll go from there. Thanks for your support. Much appreciated. And I know how much the people in this room care about our footy club, to A, come here, and to B, your support every week. We're very fortunate to do what we do. But hopefully you get a lot of joy out of what we do, as well as seeing our players get that joy, because that's what footy clubs are about. Footy clubs are about a sense of belonging for everyone. And that's our players and our coaches, through to all our members and all our supporters, who feel better for being part of our footy club. So thank you, and look forward to a good year. Ride the wave with us. We'll have a good time. Thanks, guys.